Hello, Earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, and welcome to this, your mid to late April reading. You'll notice that this month I have reverted back to doing the readings based on the different elements that your sign falls under. The reason I've done this is I've had a little bit of a personal shift and change up in my life, and I do plan on going back to doing 12 separate videos, one for each sign in the very near future. But for this month I did have to shorten things, so I am looking forward to still getting this reading out to each and every one of you. All right, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. This is general readings, and it is intended for anybody born under the sign of Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn, as well as anyone who has a significant amount of Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn in their chart. Okay, like I said, general reading. So if you are looking for specific answers to specific questions, please tap into your own free will and to your own heart center before making a decision. Do not make decisions based solely upon what you see in a video that is intended to go out to an awful lot of people. I'm going to put timestamps down below so that you can find your individual reading, but I highly, highly recommend, first of all, that you watch the reading for your sun sign. That's the sign that you were born under. If you do have a significant amount of another zodiac sign in your chart, obviously watch that one if you're looking for more specifics. And finally, okay, I just completely lost my train of thought. Finally, if you do want really, really specific information, by all means, reach out to me. I am available for personal readings. I will not reach out to you first. If you would like a personal reading, you need to look in the description box below for my contact information, and you need to reach out to me. All right, without any further ado, we're going to start with the Taurans. We are going to do the usual cards that I always do, the 6-card reading. And I will, as always, leave the cards face down until I'm actually ready to turn them over. Okay, Taurus, let's get started. Taurus, where are you at now as I'm recording this reading in the middle of April, with the intent of it covering the time period between April 15th and April 30th? Okay, where are the Taurans at now? If I remember correctly, Taurus, you had a really, really rocky reading for the beginning of April. Let's see if things have cleared up and shifted for you. Okay, Taurus now. There we go. Is there anything else for Taurus? Is it going to fall? I think so. No, it went back in. Interesting. Anything else? Okay, that one flew out. All right. So you do have 3 cards here, one of which was on the floor. Let's have a look at what you're focusing on. What are the Taurans focusing on? 1 card out right away. Okay. Let's pull some cards for your difficult influences, Taurus. Whoa. It was like the very first card. Difficult influences for Taurus. Is there anything else for April 15th through April 30th? Yep, we got one more. Okay. Let's pull a card that just makes sense for you. Nope, I'm going to pull it over here instead. Okay, apparently you have a lot that makes sense here for us, because that was a whack of cards that jumped out. Some of them are on the floor. Okay. Let's have a look at your unexpected insights and influences. Just having a little difficulty getting comfortable here. All right. Unexpected. What is unexpected? Unexpected influences and insights. Yep. And we have another card on the floor. That was the third card, second card, and first card. There we go. All right. And the final general overall outcome cards that I'm going to pull for you, Taurus, right now are intended to project, predict, have a look at what energies and where you're going to be at, what's going to be affecting you come the end of April. So, general overall outcome. Is there anything else? Okay. All right, Taurus, let's get into your reading. Where are you at now? You have the Eight of Spring, also known as the Eight of Wands. You have the Two of Summer, also known as the Two of Cups. And you have the Four of Pentacles, also known as the Four of Autumn, also known as the Four of Pentacles. The Eight of Spring, also known as the Eight of Wands, is a card of multitasking. You'll notice that on the card, the fairy has a whole bunch of light balls or little fluffy things up in the air that she is attempting to juggle. And, you know, you've got one down here that she's missed that looks like there's another one here that she might miss and it's going to go flying. So, Taurus, what this is telling me is that at this time here in the middle of April, you're juggling a whole lot. And then the second two cards that you have the Summer and you have the Autumn card, both a Cups as well as a Pentacles, which tells me that some of what you are juggling here involves both relationships and money. The Two of Summer, also known as the Two of Cups, is a card of relationships. It can sometimes indicate love and new love interest coming into your life, but it could also represent, for those of you who are not looking for a romantic relationship, it can indicate that you have a new helper or mentor coming in. This is also, for those of you who have been in committed relationships, an indication that there's some healing going on in your relationship. Either way, the Two of Summer, Two of Cups is a positive card with regards to love and relationships. You have the Four of Autumn, also known as the Four of Pentacles, and this is a card of budgeting. This is a card of balance. You'll notice two fairies on this card. And they're pretty much trying to be on an even surface, even though it represents that one of them looks like they might be more royalty and the other one more servant, which is an indication that there's an imbalance going on, particularly with regards to your finances right now, Taurus. So yeah, some good information here. Just watch what you're juggling. Watch how many things you've got on the go at any given time, because it can really begin to complicate things for you, Taurus. Let's have a look at what you're focusing on here for the last half of April 2023. You've got the Mirror Guardian coming up in your focus. Take time to reflect, Taurus. This is a card that's calling you to go within, pay attention to that heart center, pay attention to the still small voice that we often like to call intuition. There's good information coming in for you at this time. The other card that you have coming in as part of your focus is the Lord. You're being asked to take charge with authority. In other words, when you have a decision to make between April 15th and April 30th, don't waffle. Make the decision, stick with that decision. With all of the celestial changes that we've gone through, and in particular, Pluto moving into the sign of Aquarius, it doesn't matter if Pluto's moved into Aquarius and, Taurus is far removed, or whatever the case may be. There's huge shifts and changes because Pluto is a planet that takes a long time to transition. It's not like Mercury going retrograde, and Mercury goes retrograde, every few weeks, every couple of months, depending on its travel. Pluto is a planet that, because when it transitions from one sign to another, it's often in that sign for several years. It really, really makes a lot of changes for us, Taurus. And part of that change and shift for you is going to be to take charge with authority. Let's have a look at your difficult influences. Okay. You've got the 9 of Pentacles coming up in reverse here in your difficult influences. This is telling me that when it comes to your job or career, and when it comes to money, right now, the period of time for this reading, which is April 15th to the 30th, right now is not a good time for you to be making decisions, especially rash or impulsive decisions when it comes to money or finances or job. The other card that you have in your difficult influences is this 2 of Pentacles. You've got lots of Pentacles. You've got the 8 of Pentacles. Now you've got the 9. You've got the 2 coming up. What this is telling me is that if you have a decision to make with regards to job, work, career, and finances, Taurus, you're going to want to make sure that all of your I's are dotted, your T's are crossed, and you're going to want to take your time. Live in the moment. And these 2 cards being read together in your difficult influences is you're going to be tempted to want to make rash or impulsive decisions here at the end of April. And it's not, the cards are indicating that it's not well advised at this time. All right, you have in your This Makes Sense, you've got the butterfly, the regeneration card. This is a card that is indicating you are going through a significant amount of time, or a significant amount of change, or a big shift at this time. This card from this particular deck, which is the Messages from the Spirits of Nature, this card coming up is, in my humble opinion, the card that would be equated to the Death card in the traditional tarot. It's a card of something within you needs to go into a cocoon, and it needs to transform. So when we look at a butterfly, we see beautiful, beautiful creatures, Taurus. But in order to become the butterfly, the caterpillar had to die. Okay. So this is telling me that right now you are going through this huge transition. And as I already mentioned, you're not the only sign going through all of this right now. You have the crystal quartz coming up in reverse. This is a card that's telling me you're struggling with staying focused on the task at hand. You have the hurricane. It's funny that you have look at these 2 opposites coming out here. You have the crystal quartz coming out, which represents being focused, upside down, and then you have the hurricane coming up right next to it, reminding you to stay centered. Is there a theme going on here, Taurus? I think so. You're having difficulty staying focused, while at the same time, you're being reminded that you need to stay centered and focused. You also have the rainbow, which is the beauty card. And this card is reminding you to see the beauty in everything. When you're going through a huge transition, such as a butterfly transition, it can be hard to stay focused. You feel more like you're in this part of the hurricane rather than being the eye of the storm, which is where there's a calm. And in order to reach that calm, still, small space in the center of the hurricane, when all of this other change and shift is happening, Taurus, see the beauty in everything. This is a card of see the beauty in everything while at the same time practicing gratitude. These cards make sense when I read them with the other cards that are coming up here, Taurus, that, you know, you're being told, take time to reflect. Here, this is another card about taking time to reflect, living moment to moment. You know, you're being told that you're probably going to have a little bit of trouble staying focused, because this was inverted, and this moment to moment card was also in your difficult influences. So Taurus, what these cards are telling me so far is rash, impulsive decisions would be ill-advised from mid to late April. Let's move into your unexpected. Right. Unexpected. You've got the elder, move beyond ancestral patterns. That makes sense, especially when we look at these two cards together. If you're holding on to something from the past, all you are doing is staying a caterpillar. You will never be able to become the butterfly. The only way that you can become the butterfly and become this elder is to let go of the past. So these two cards work beautifully together. You have the seer, see beyond the current situation. Does that card make sense? Yeah, it does make sense, because you are again being reminded and encouraged to focus. The only way that you can see beyond the current situation and become this gypsy and be able to actually read that crystal ball, Taurus, is if you live moment to moment, get focused, become the center of the hurricane. Don't get all caught up in all of this part that's swirling around. And finally, you have the protection guardian coming out here, Taurus. When we are going through a huge change and shift, as is indicated here, we often want to put up our shields. We put up our shields, we put up our guards, we want to go within, and we withdraw. And you're actually being encouraged to do the opposite. Go out there, look for the mentor. Remember what I said? With this Two of Summer, also known as the Two of Cups, coming up for you at the very beginning of your reading, I said that for many of you, I'm not sensing that this is a representation of you. For some of you, definitely, it's about love and romance and a change or a shift in a positive direction for an existing relationship. But I also said, watch for a mentor or a helper to be coming in with this card. And you can't have a mentor or a helper come in if you're walking around with a wall that you've built up around yourself. So there you go, Taurus. Your general overall outcome. Beautiful. Your general overall outcome is that you do need to be showing courage. These two cards go hand in hand. Okay. Take charge with authority is all about being courageous. Okay. You've got the Queen of Wands coming in. The Queen of Wands represents sharing. Beautiful. It's not just about sharing as in, you know, giving off some money. It's about sharing your wealth of knowledge, sharing who you are. And perhaps, you know, as you are seeking a mentor, so shall you become a mentor, Taurus. That's what I'm picking up intuitively from the card for you, the sharing card. And finally, the last card that you have in your reading is the Magician. This is the number 1 in the traditional tarot, the existence card. This card, Taurus, is telling me that as you have this awakening, as you become this butterfly, you will realize you are the creator of your own reality. Okay. So a couple of different times in this particular reading, you were encouraged to go within, right? Live moment to moment. That's part of going within. Take time to reflect. See beyond the current situation. These are all cards of going within. You were told to focus, but you may struggle with that a little bit. All of these cards encouraging you to go within, Taurus, is because the universe wants you to know that you are in charge. Using your free will, you create your reality. Okay. Thank you so much for joining me here, Taurus. I encourage you to watch any of the other dominant energies that you have in your chart. And with that, I'm going to move on. Thank you so much for being here today. All right, so let's jump into the Virgos. Welcome, Virgos, both Virgos born under the sign of Virgo, as well as anybody else with the significant amount of Virgo in their charts. Let's get started. Okay, let's pull some cards and see where you're at here in the middle of April 2023. Virgo. All right, apparently not. Let's see. Whoops. I'm just going to grab that before it lands on the floor and I have to bend down. Okay. Okay, Virgo. The next card that we are going to pull, and as I've previously mentioned, I do leave all the cards face down until I'm actually ready to read them, is going to be what you are focusing on. Where are we going? Strangely, we're getting called over to my old cheater deck. All right. All right, and it has a lot to say, so I'm going to end up having to mix up the cards that are coming out and narrow things down for you, Virgo. Because we have, I am going to pull out, I don't know why, I'm going to pull out this one card that flipped right out, because flipped right out cards by themselves mean a lot, but we have about 20 other cards here, Virgo. Let's see if there's anything else that you are focusing on that wants to come out. What else does Virgo need? There was so many cards. There we go. We got one more. I knew there was at least one more card there for you for focus, Virgo. All right, the next card that we're going to pull for you is difficult influences. Where are we going? We're going over here to the fairies. What are the difficult influences affecting the Virgos for the last half of April? Is that card going to come out? We've got one card here. I don't know if you can see it just sticking out. I'm trying not to have a look at what it is. Yep, well, all right, we'll pull it out. Okay. One for difficult influences. Okay, Virgo, we're going to pull a card that just makes sense. Where are we going? Strangely, we're going back over to the old cheater deck. Anything else? Anything else? Yep, we just have one card there. Okay. The next card that we're going to pull is a card of unexpected insights and influences. Unexpected insights and influences for Virgo. Last half of April 2023. Apparently you don't have anything unexpected coming up, Virgo. You just know everything. All right. Let's go through the deck one more time. unexpected for the Virgos. Ah, there we go. Okay, is there anything else? I think that's it. Oops. And the final cards that we're going to pull for you, Virgo, are going to be the general overall outcome from this reading, which is basically having a look and predicting or projecting where you're going to be at and what energies are going to be influencing you come the end of April. And I'm getting called over here to the fairies. So let's see what the fairies want to predict for you for the general overall outcome. Is there anything else? Yep, I guess there was. Okay. All right. Where you are at right now, Virgo, support is all around you. You have the fellow travelers card. This is a card indicating that as we go through this huge change and this huge shift on this planet, many of us are feeling very, very alone. And Virgo, this is showing me that if you haven't already found your people, found your clan, you are being encouraged to do so right now. That may mean reaching out, finding a mentor, finding someone to support you. It may mean just looking for your community and people who are like-minded. As we go through this shift, it's going to be more and more difficult for us to continue to fall back into our old patterns. And when we do, okay. My guides are telling me to say something that's a little uncomfortable, Virgo. Okay. The basic general overall meaning of this card is that you have support all around you. But what I'm picking up intuitively and psychically for you, Virgo, is that some of you are feeling alone, some of you are feeling isolated. And as the world continues to change and shift into all of these new energies that are coming in, if you don't find your clan and your community, what's eventually going to happen is you're going to be tempted to fall back into old patterns. And if you do that, here's the part that my guides were telling me I'm supposed to say. If you decide that you're going to try to fall back into old patterns, once this shift has started, and it has definitely already started, your spirit guides are going to bitch slap you. Sorry. I know that seems uncomfortable. I know that seems harsh, but some of us need to hear things in a way that's not sugar-coated. The reality is, Virgo, you have started a change and a shift, and it is positive and it is beautiful. And as uncomfortable as changes and shifts can be in that moment, remember that everything is temporary. Change is constant. So continue to work through and push through this. And you're going to come out the other side, but you may need to find community and mentors and your clan to be able to support you. That's what I'm picking up from this card without having turned over any of the other cards for you, Virgo. My guides just screamed like, this is what you need to say to Virgo. Yeah, you have the 5 of Cups and you have the Moon coming up. Both of these cards indicate that if you had a yes/no question right now, the answer is no. The Five of Cups is about brooding over the past, about wishing you could go backwards. And trust me, I didn't have these cards turned over, so I couldn't tell that the Five of Cups was coming up for you. But that's what this is about. It's about sadness and loss and mourning the past. You can't have the past back. So Virgo, as much as these two cards came up for you in what you are currently focusing on for the last half of April, just as if you watch the beginning of your reading for the first half of April, you'll hear my little spiel about your free will and the fact that you can change the outcome of any of these psychic or tarot card readings by changing your mind and changing the direction of your life and shifting things. If you don't like the fact that you have the moon and the Five of Cups coming up for what you're focusing on, then focus on something else, Virgo. If you're focusing on the past, you're just going to bring more of this. Like, look at the character. The character is dressed in black. He has his head bowed. This is not what you want to be focusing on. You have the moon coming up for you in your focus. So two things come up with the moon. First of all, a duality comes up. I already mentioned the duality to you here, Virgo. Instead of looking forward with positivity and anticipation to all of these changes that are coming up, instead you're going, I just want to go back into the past. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. For the light, there is the dark. For the yin, there is the yang. Okay, that's what the moon brings up for us. So focus on the positive, not the negative. Because here's the thing, if you're focusing on the dark and you're focusing on the dark side of the moon, it represents things that may not be honest in your life. If you're focusing on the light side of the moon and the full moon and the brightness and the gratitude, it's going to bring those things into your life. The other thing with the moon is pay attention to your dreams. Really, really important for you, Virgo. Right now, as you move through the second half of April, the intended timing for this reading, pay attention to your dreams. Difficult influences. You have the Seven of Winter, also known as the Seven of Swords, indicating that there is a better choice. You are not seeing things clearly right now, Virgo. That kind of makes sense. If you are resisting change, you're not seeing things clearly. So that card makes sense right now. You have the Eight of Autumn, also known as the Eight of Pentacles. This is a card of do your research before you proceed, especially when it comes to money. The fact that this card came up in your difficult influences, Virgo, is telling me if you have decisions to make about money, make sure that all of your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed. And if you don't know what you're doing, seek out help, guidance, seminars, courses, anything like that, okay? This card is a card of asking for advice and receiving teachings. It came up in your difficult influences. So Virgo, this is telling me that perhaps you're not asking for advice at this time when you should be. There's a huge shift happening. This, like I said, the autumn or the pentacles represents work, and it also can represent money. And what's coming up for me, Virgo, is if you are planning on making changes with regards to your current financial situation, ask for help, get a mentor, take a seminar, take a class, learn. And the final card that you have in your difficult influences is the Magician. Okay. You are not the first person to receive the Magician for the last half of April. And in fact, you might want to check out the reading for Taurus, because they had the Magician not once, but twice in their reading, in two different placements in the reading. So yeah, Virgo, the fact that you have the Magician coming up in your difficult influences, the Magician is normally about take charge of your life, realize that you're the one in control, you have free will, you can change the direction of your life. But this card coming up in your difficult influences is telling me that you're not making that connection. You're not realizing how powerful and how magical you really are in this time. And when you do, when you wake up to that, oh, like, is actually kind of taking my breath away and giving me butterflies in my stomach, Virgo. So really concentrate on recognizing this last half of April, how powerful you are. This makes sense. You have the Four of Pentacles. Yeah. What did we have? We had the Five of Cups in your focus, telling you let go of the past. You're focusing on the past. You're focusing on things you can't change or control. This card has the exact same meaning. This card makes sense in your reading here, Virgo. I'm just going to read this because it's easier so that you can believe that these cards both have similar meanings. This card is about holding on to more so the emotions. The Five of Cups here is more so about holding on to the emotions of the past that are no longer serving you. This one's more about holding on to some of the physical aspects that no longer serve you. But either way, it's about holding on to the past. So Virgo, it's time to move forward. It's time to embrace the future. It's not surprising that you have the Magician in your difficult influences when you have now two cards saying, I'm holding on to the past. Oh my goodness, you're not going to believe this. You are the second earth sign to end up with the Magician twice in your reading for the last half of April. Taurus did too. Taurus had the existence card and they had the Magician card come out. Absolutely unbelievable. All right. Let's have a look at these in the order in which they came out, Virgo, for your unexpected insights and influences. You have the projections card, the Seven of Cups. This is a card indicating that you are not living in your own reality, and instead you are allowing outside influences to come in. They're chattering in your head, and you are then projecting that outwards instead of living your own reality. You are projecting out the beliefs that don't belong to you right now. Be careful. That's a powerful card. As I mentioned, you have the Magician coming up. This is a card of unexpected insights and influences telling me that as much as it's difficult for you, this is in your difficult influences, as much as it's difficult and you're struggling against it, realize your power right now. Oh my goodness, Virgo, you create your reality. Your thoughts, words, and deeds create your existence. You have this card. This is the number 13 from the Major Arcana. What does the number 13 card represent? Transformation. It's the Death card. Unexpected insights. Virgo, right from the beginning of this entire reading, without having turned this card over, I kept saying, you're going through a huge change. You're going through a huge shift. And here is your confirmation. The final card that you have for your unexpected insights is the Nine of Pentacles. This is a card of ripeness. This is a card saying, hey, as you go through this change and you realize how powerful you really are, guess what's going to happen? Yeah, all the fruit is going to be ripe for the picking. The world is really going to be just ripe. When you are on the right path in life, things just fall into place. And so Virgo, this card is indicating that for the last half of April, what's coming up for me now? Not right in the middle of April, like not 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th. That's not the timing I'm picking up. I'm picking up the timing for this ripeness, for something is going to come in for you, Virgo. A choice or decision that you're going to have to make. When we make choices or decisions, what are we doing? We're implementing our own magician. A choice or a decision is going to come up for you. I want to say 25th, 27th of April, and it's going to be ripe for the picking. General overall outcome. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Taurus, you might want to look, or sorry, Virgo, you might want to look at Taurus's reading. All right, so your general overall outcome is you have the 9 of Winter as the first card in your general overall outcome. This is the equivalent to the 9 of Swords. This is a card of focusing on the negative, focusing on worst case scenarios. Oh, have we seen other cards during this reading for you, Taurus? Or, oh my goodness, Virgo, that indicate that you might be focusing on the past? You have 3 cards here, Virgo, indicating your focus is on the past. When your focus is on the past, then your inner magician can't come out. Okay. So come the end of the month, I'm being told by the cards, you're still going to be brooding over something. If you don't let it go, Virgo. Yeah. 10 of Summer, also known as the 10 of Cups. This is a card about surrounding yourself by people you can trust. As we began, so shall we end, Virgo. These 2 cards, both the card that was pulled for the middle of the month, as well as the card for closing off the month, are asking you to make sure you're surrounding yourself by people you can trust, with people you can trust. Community is going to be so important for you right now, Virgo. And the final card that you have is the 8 of Spring, also known as the 8 of Wands. It is a card of sudden events or changes, while at the same time, it is a card of juggling a whole bunch of different things, Virgo. Look at all these. Look at all these balls up here, all these little fairy balls that the fairy is attempting to juggle, right? So what this is telling me, Virgo, is that come the end of April for your general overall outcome, get your inner magician working. Let go of that past crap, both physical and emotional. Surround yourself by people, with people that you trust. Surround yourself with your tribe. And you might find yourself juggling a few things by the end of the month. You're definitely going to experience some change, right? You've got sudden changes represented here and here. Yeah, I think what's coming up for me, and I'm going to leave off the reading with this. When you accept how magical and powerful you really are, and you finally let go of the past, and you have community that's going to support you through these changes, things are going to be beautiful. But you do have to go through this transformation. You've got to let go of the past. And I think This moon card is important because this moon card was in your focus, what you are focusing on, and what you are encouraged to focus on with this card is your dreams. So, Virgo, make your dreams come true. Focus on them. Believe that you can make them come true. All right. I'm going to leave that off. I will see you at the beginning of May. Okay, Capricorn, let's dive right into your reading. It'll be interesting to see what comes up for you as an earth sign. I've already done the reading for Taurus and Virgo as earth signs. And I can tell you that both Taurus and Virgo had a lot of similar cards come out. So this is going to be interesting indeed. As I've mentioned in the past, oftentimes birds of a feather flock together. And so typically when I'm doing the videos where I combine these zodiac signs with their element and do all of the readings all together into one video, there's a lot of synchronicities and similarities. So just giving you the heads up there. Okay, Capricorn, the first card that we're going to pull is we're going to have a look at where you are at now. Where are we going? We're being pulled over here. Where are the Capricorns at now? Here in the middle of April 2023. Capricorn, what is influencing you? Where are you at? Interesting. Oh, there's one. And there's another one. And another one. All right. Just took us a minute to get them out. That card, and then that one, and that one. Okay. As I mentioned, I do leave all of them face down until I'm actually ready to read them. And that way, a little bit more of the energies can flow through rather than me being told what to say. We're going to look at what you're focusing on. All right, what are the Capricorns focusing on? Last half of April 2023. What are the Capricorns focusing on? Capricorn. Okay. All right. The next card that we're going to pull, or cards as the case may be, is going to be your difficult influences. Difficult influences for Capricorn for the last half of April 2023. Well, when the first couple of cards popped out right away, I was a little concerned, Capricorn, but oops, that one's on the floor. I have to drop at least one or two cards on the floor every single reading. It just is. Okay, so the first card that came out was that one, and that one, and that one, in the order in which they came out. Next card that we're going to pull for you, Capricorn, is going to be a card that just makes sense. Okay. Apparently nothing makes sense. All right, that just makes sense. Ties things together for us. Anything? All right, we might have to change decks. Nope, there we go. All right. And Capricorn, next cards that we're going to pull is Unexpected Insights and Influences. Unexpected Insights and Influences for Capricorn. Okay, this was the first card, second card, and those two cards. Great. And the final cards that we're going to pull are going to be your general overall outcome. Now, these cards are the prediction or projection of energies and what's going to be happening and influencing you by the end of April. Okay. General overall outcome for the Capricorns, end of April. Interesting. I'm gonna have to go through these one more time, but it was interesting how they ended up kind of quite messy. All right, let's try again. Capricorn, general overall outcome for the end of April. There's one. Another one. Another one. Okay. We're going to put these in the order in which they came out, and we're going to get started. Capricorn. Okay, you have 3 cards here for where you're at now, here at the middle of April, as I'm doing this reading. You've got the breaking trail card. A breakthrough is at hand. This is an indication that for many of us, when we start a project, we get excited, we're thrilled, there's all of this energy, there's anticipation, and there's excitement. And then that wanes because oftentimes our projects take some time to actually come to full fruition. And what's coming up for me, Capricorn, is that you're wavering in your excitement and your anticipation. And for many projects that we try to hatch and get off the ground, we're like this close. We're almost there. We're at that point of breakthrough and we go, oh, this isn't working, and we walk away. Don't be that person, Capricorn. You have the reaching your destination. This is a card encouraging you to keep going. The breakthrough is almost here. So keep going, reach that destination. Why? Because the universe is a wonderful thing. Let's have a look at what you're focusing on. Oh, Capricorn. All right. You have the no thingness card coming up. What does this card represent? A lot of people look at this card and they think of it as being like the death card or the devil card or some kind of negative card because there's nothing on it. In actual fact, what this card represents is us going back to the way that we were when we were born, before our parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, teachers, religious leaders, society as a whole told us who we should be, what we should think, and how we should act. There's that word 3 times, that should word that needs to be erased from the English language. Okay. This card represents us going back to being the blank slate while still keeping in mind past and previous knowledge, but having the ability and capacity to go into no-thingness and tap into what's true and what's right for us before we were told what's right for us. So, Capricorn, this is what you are focusing on. This theme was actually quite common in many of the zodiac signs readings for the first half of April. This whole, we need to go within and we need to explore what's true and what's right for us inside, not based on what a religious leader or a teacher or a professor or a mom or a dad told us was right. What do we actually believe? And when we have the capacity to go back to this state of no-thingness, we have the ability to make choices that are more in alignment with our soul purpose and more in alignment with why we are here. The downside to this exercise and this focus, Capricorn, is this guy, the fighting card. This seems all spiritual and great because we want to be able to let go of the past and we want to be able to find our true life's purpose and we want to be able to move forward through things. And in fact, the other thing that's coming up for me is that when we go into this place of no-thingness, we also have the capacity to improve all of the relationships that we have, whether those relationships are romantic or not. But let me just touch on romantic relationships. When we come from a place of no-thingness, we have the capacity to be genuine, to be true to who we truly are. And that improves relationships because when we are living in our own authenticity, the only thing that can happen is we strengthen the relationship with the people that we have around us, especially those that are closest to us. But why did this guy come up in your focus with this one? Because when we go through this process of determining what's right for us, what's authentic for us, what's real for us, without all of this outside chatter of somebody else telling us you should believe this. Let me just give you an example, because I think for some of you, you may not be completely understanding this, but let me just go into this. For the vast majority of humanity on this planet, Capricorn, we have been taught right from the time that we were born until you are sitting here today watching this video, we have been taught that, and this is for the vast majority, okay? I do recognize that there is a faction of society that does not believe this, but the vast majority of us are taught monogamy, monogamy, monogamy. You have to have a monogamous relationship, a man and a woman, and you have to get married and you have to stay in that marriage for life. This card is about questioning that questioning the big things. Does monogamy resonate for you, or doesn't it? Do you believe that marriage should be for life? Or do you believe that we are animals, similar to some animals in the animal kingdom that don't practice monogamy? Yes, there are some animals that do practice monogamy, but there are other animal species that don't. What resonates with you? That's the big questions that come up with this no-thingness card, Capricorn. So why would the fighting card come up? Because when we recognize that some of the way that we have been living our lives is not in alignment with our authenticity, it's not in alignment with our true selves, it's not in alignment with our soul purpose, we get angry. Right? We get angry. Does that serve our highest good? No, it does not. So ultimately, Capricorn, sure, it's okay to experience the anger and feel a little bit like you're in that fighting mood when you realize that some of what you were told didn't actually resonate with your soul. It's okay to actually experience that emotion, but then release it. You have to work through it and let it go. Okay. Let's have a look at your difficult influence. Oh my goodness. You have the Lover's card in your difficult influences, Capricorn. What would have brought me to talk about monogamy with the no thingness card? And then you have the Lovers card. Interesting. Okay, in your difficult influences, you have the Two of Autumn, also known as the Two of Pentacles. This is a card of bringing fun into what you do. If you're not bringing fun into what you do, why are you doing it? But this is in your difficult influences. So normally in a reading, if this card came up, it would be, woo, bring fun into everything you do. In your difficult influences, it's saying, hey, stop being a stick in the mud. You have the Lovers in your difficult influences. This is a card that typically represents romantic relationships. And if it's in your difficult influences, it can indicate maybe a couple little speed bumps, couple little bumps in the road. Not surprising. When you begin to explore the no thingness, you will also explore the relationships that you have in your life, what serves you and what doesn't, what resonates with you going forward. So it's actually not surprising to have the Lovers card in your difficult influences when you are focusing on no thingness. Yeah, I just want to check one thing really, really quickly here for you. Yeah. So I just wanted to confirm before I stick my foot in my mouth. The no thingness card does correspond with the Hierophant. I am not going to say that word over and over again because I don't like it. But the Hierophant in the traditional tarot is about questioning our morals, questioning why we believe what we believe. When you question this, you're going to potentially send a monkey wrench into the relationships that you have. And the final card that you have in the difficult influences is the Two of Spring, also known as the Two of Wands. This is a card of partnership in order to achieve your dreams, taking action in order to achieve your dreams. The issue here is that you have two twos. You have the Two of Autumn and the Two of Spring, both coming up in your difficult influences. And what this is telling me, Capricorn, is that you have a duality going on right now. A big duality. That's not really surprising. Relationships are typically about two people. Duality. Okay, so just be aware of that, Capricorn, as you move through the second half of April. This makes sense. This makes sense card. You have the Owl, which represents intuition, and it also represents the wise old owl, knowing the inner knowing. The wise old owl coming up in This Makes Sense in your reading makes sense, Capricorn, because the only way that we can do the no thingness work is to tap deeply into our intuition, because we have been conditioned deeply to believe in systems and institutions outside of ourselves. So tap in deeply to your intuition in order to see what resonates for you. Okay, Capricorn. In your unexpected insights, you have set your sights higher. Okay, this is telling me, Capricorn, that you're playing it. You're playing it safe right now. Set your sights higher. Unexpected insights. Unleash the wild within. What do you think happens when you begin to do the Hierophant's work or the no-thingness work? What happens? You get in touch with your soul and with your soul purpose. And you begin to make changes that may seem or appear wild or rash or impulsive to the outside world. Your family and friends looks at you and goes cross-eyed and goes, what the heck happened to Capricorn? Wow, did you see that crazy decision they made? Yeah, well, they made that decision from this place of intuition and going within. They made that decision from within their soul. And so, yeah, it stands to reason that in unexpected insights, you may appear like a wild woman or a wild man to the outside world. Now, what's coming up for me intuitively right now is to temper this reading, Capricorn, with a heads up. This is not saying pack your bags and go and live like a wild person out in the bush. This is not saying that you should reject society's belief that killing is wrong. No, that is not what this is saying at all. Let me be clear. What this card and these cards and this reading is saying is that you are intended to be exploring the big picture, like is, for example, somebody who was raised, again, I'm going to bring up big concepts here. I already discussed monogamy. Somebody who's raised in a family that's vegetarian or vegan, and yet they get into their adult life and they look around them and other people are eating meat and they begin to question, why was I raised with the belief that eating meat was wrong? And they explore that on a deep, deep level. These are the kinds of big concepts that I'm talking about here, Capricorn. Okay. And in the example that I just gave of someone who is raised as a vegan or a vegetarian and gets into adult life and they begin to explore deeply the concept of eating meat versus not eating meat, and then they make a conscious decision or choice to begin to eat meat, to their family, they will appear as if they have become wild. Are they wild? There's a big portion of the population that eats meat. So does that make them a wild person? No. But in the perception of the people around them, it may, right? So these are the types of things, the types of concepts that are going to be coming up for you, Capricorn, in the last half of April 2023. And they're big and they require your undivided attention. Oracle is coming up for you in unexpected insights. I love it when this card appears in the unexpected insights or unexpected influences. It means that there is important information coming forward and you need to pay attention to your wise old owl and your intuition in order to be able to pick up on this information that's coming in. And finally, you have the Magic Guardian coming in. I do want to point out that your fellow earth signs, both the Virgos and the Taurans, also had Magic and the Magician appear. Both of those signs had the Magician appear twice each in their reading. And now all of a sudden, Capricorn, you've got Magic coming out in yours, which indicates when you do this work of no-thingness, when you tap deeply into your intuition, when you set your sights higher and you allow your inner wild to come out, you truly are unlocking the magic within you. And you're truly embracing the realization that you have control over your life. General overall outcome. Capricorn. Do you see what this says? You have the Lovers in your general overall outcome. You have the Lovers in your difficult influences. not. I mean, if you were to actually calculate out the odds of that happening, pretty slim. Okay, so I'm going to read these. This is the other thing, that in your general overall outcome, Capricorn, you have 3 major arcana. Pretty amazing. 3 major arcana cards. This is a universe screaming at the top of its lungs at you. This isn't the universe being subtle anymore. You have the Lovers in your general overall outcome. This is an indication that for those of you who are single, you have the Lovers in here twice. It's an indication that there's definitely a lover or some kind of new relationship coming in for you. Those of you who are in committed relationships, this is an indication that there is a strengthening happening. And for those of you who are not seeking, not looking, who are quite satisfied, the Lover's card is interpreted that you have a mentor or helper coming in. You have the Courage card coming up. You are, again, not the first sign to have the Courage card come out in your final overall outcome for the end of April 2023. And you also have the Death card, the Transformation card. You're not the first sign to have this card come out. Exercise courage as you go forward. When you go through this transformation, this change, this shift, when you change your belief systems, when you're focusing on changing your belief systems and you actually physically get into making the changes in the real world, not just making the changes up here, it's going to take courage. And you will transform. There's going to be huge transformation for you, Capricorn, coming up here at the end of April. Thank you so much. I hope that this resonated with each and every one of you, and I hope that you'll join me again at the beginning of May. Wonderful to have all of you here each and every month.